is Curt Schwaderer. I'm the Marketing Director for the Communications Software Products for Microware Systems. The goal of this tape is to get you familiarized so that you can initiate or engage with potential customers on articulate quickly and effectively what OS-9 and what Microware is about. The tape is in 3 sections. First, we're going to talk about why Microware. The second part of the tape will be able to familiarize you with what it takes during the development cycle of a communications-oriented project so you understand and you can articulate effectively what happens between the hardware and the software sections. And the third part is a challenge. We're going to challenge all of you to go out the very next day after seeing this tape and going and engaging with one customer. Take that leap of faith and go out and articulate why Microware, just once to one customer, and take it from there. So with that said, let's go into the first section. Why Microware? Why Microware? Our project orientation. We are organized as an organization, as a product line, and as a pricing structure to be project oriented. And what that means to your customer is increased productivity, increased profitability, and significant differentiation in their marketplace. That is our message. That is why Microware. So let's talk a little bit about, on a macrocosm, what is the industry worried about? Well, I think that there's a section here in Specs Technology magazine that really articulates on the macrocosm cell what is the problem statement for the communications industry. And here it goes like this. The strong demand for sophisticated new services able to combine voice, data, and video is a serious challenge to well-established local loop telephony businesses. Also challenged are new entrants in the telecommunications field who are collectively investing billions of dollars worldwide to deploy the right infrastructure. In the meantime, both traditional telephone companies and cable operators are finding their path to add the missing part of their package delivery. In the end, every multiple system operator has the same priority: to design the right infrastructure. That is the problem statement. That is a problem statement for the industry on a macrocosm basis. So what does Microware have to offer for that product statement? Well, Microware has been where the industry is trying to go. Places like Bosch Telecom and the LMDS Multimedia Dallas Showcase. NEC Australia doing an ADSL, Digital Subscriber Loop, Multimedia Service Network deployment in Australia. And of course, the well-known Hong Kong Telecom Multimedia Service Network trial, ATM to the Home. Microware has been all these places. End equipment, infrastructure equipment, OS-9 for communications, and OS-9 has been proven and fielded to satisfy the requirements, to solve the problem statement for the industry. So that is why, on a macrocosm cell, why you would use Microware. Now let's talk about on the project basis a little bit. Projects are not just getting together and writing some code and giving it to the marketplace. It's much more complicated than that, and Microware understands all the phases of the project and addresses every phase of the project. Extremely important for a successful project. First of all, there's the requirements and evaluation phase. This is the part of the team. This is probably the most crucial part and the most critical part for you to engage the customer in. They have to figure out what's real. They have to figure out what their functional requirements are, what the marketplace is for their product. And then they have to figure out, based on the software architectures that they need, what is real. Separate hype from reality. Figuring out what's being provided versus what's lacking in the product so that they have to develop it. That's a critical juncture. And Microware addresses this most critical phase of the product line by providing free consulting on our website, www.microware.com. There's a page where the customer can fill out their functional requirements, send it to Microware, and Microware will return a concept realization report that outlines what Microware products are, a block diagram, a specification, a functional specification, what's lacking, and what they would need to provide. That gives everybody a snapshot on what Microware can provide, separates the hype from reality, and gives them a concrete knowledge base in just a few minutes on what OS-9 for Communications or the OS-9 product line can do for their product. The initiation phase. Challenges here are things like vendor coordination and the learning curve. You have to coordinate between maybe 3 or 4 different companies to provide a solution for your product. And that can be a time-consuming issue, especially if you're going to have to go through the requirements evaluation phase. Microware addresses this by providing a partner program. Microware has a third-party partners program, so we have actually gone through the requirements and evaluation phase for all of our technology products. We don't want to have everybody have everything available for OS-9. We want to have the best pieces, best components, best add-ons, the best synergistic fit for Microware and our product line and our vendor, our third-party partners product line. So we're providing that right up front in the initiation phase. Learning curve, big issue. How long is it going to take before I am productive on this on this software? Well, Microware addresses these really with 3 things. First of all is the quick start service. When you get the product, you not only get the product, but you get the quick start service, a trained professional on site walking you through the installation and answering any questions you have, so that you are right up on par with the product right out of the box. Tutorial style documentation is another piece. After the after the quick start service is over, there are tutorials that can be walked through and run throughs to get familiarization with the environment. And then again, training. Microware offers extensive training classes to be able to be effective at more detailed analysis of the software and how it works. Finally, the development phase. Challenges, time to market, human resource constraints. How much am I getting support from my software vendor? Product reliability and availability and security concerns. All these things are addressed by Microware systems in a lot of different ways. First of all, development tools are important. There are really 2 pieces to accelerating time to market: development tools and more finished code. Microware provides both by providing a Hawk development and an integrated development environment that is useful right out of the box, and you can add third-party plugins for what you need to do. More finished code. OS-9 is all about more finished code. Its architecture, its runtime, footprint, and image are all about making applications easier to write and making applications more understandable. Support. Microware was rated #1 customer support by EE Times in the fall of 1997. So you can be assured in the development phase, support and response times being important, you are going to get the very best kind of support from Microware systems, better than anybody else's in the industry. Product reliability and availability and security. OS-9, the operating system, the soft stacks architecture, the modular dynamically downloading and upgrade, the secure process model OS, all of that is about addressing both of these pieces, these challenges. OS-9 is a mission-critical 20-year-old operating system that has been proven over and over again in the most mission-critical situations. The dynamic download and upgrade facility allows 100% availability of the product, even when you're doing maintenance on it. And the secure process model of OS-9 is less prone to attack. It's resistant to malicious attack and easier to debug as a result also. Finally, the last phase of our project is a maintenance and integration and upgrade phase, where typically there are challenges faced in problem discovery and resolution. Losing your knowledge base. Typically people who develop it go on to new development things, and new people or less people are left to do the maintenance and upgrade. And then again, product evolution. You don't want to create a product and then just leave it. You want to evolve it into changing and evolving requirements. And you don't want to have to change software bases every time you do that. Otherwise you incur this whole evolution over again. OS-9 addresses the problem discovery and resolution by our development tools. by runtime built-in diagnostic facilities that track down and help you solve those real-time bugs, those things that happen once every 3 days. There are runtime diagnostics built into modules within OS-9 that can provide clues and provide printouts and diagnostics that allow you to track down those problems right away. Losing your knowledge base and product evolution, again, it ties into the time and market and human resources. More finished code. OS-9, its runtime architecture and image is geared specifically to making application development easier and more understandable. So you can lose some knowledge base, you can replace some people, you can add new people, and they have a chance. They have a very good chance of making sure that you come up to speed quickly and easily on OS-9. And then again, it falls back into training, quick start, and tutorials so that you have the ability to ramp people up very quickly for this kind of an architecture. The next section, we're going to talk about what's really going on in the development cycle for the communications product line, and OS-9 for communications in specific. Now that you have gotten your way through the door, being able to articulate quickly and effectively why Microware, it's important for you to understand when you're talking to the engineering manager for communications what they're dealing with, what their history is, what their projects are like in the development cycle. And really, in my experience, it's all about Tinker Toys versus blocks of wood. The hardware engineers have Tinker Toys, microprocessor section, address, data bus, peripheral interface buses, interchip digital link, all these things that provide a form factor for a microprocessor that enables you to take a network interface chip and quickly and easily plug it onto a microprocessor in a development circuit board and be able to really design and go. Application notes, all that kind of thing, makes it quick and easy for the hardware engineers to do their job. And as a result, hardware engineers kind of apply this concept to software, but it's really not like that historically. What ends up happening on the software side is you need something equivalent to a microprocessor on the software plane, which is like an operating system. So you go out and you get a kernel. Well, the next thing you have to do to deal with the network interface chip itself is to have a device driver for that network interface chip. Okay, but then that's not all you need. You also need languages that the network would speak, or protocol stacks, say an ATM signaling stack or something. And the reality of the situation is these are not form factors and do not fit together. So as a result, the software engineer is trying to figure out how to interwork all of these pieces of code together, which is a very high risk, very difficult thing to do. So that's why historically the evolution of the development tool has been so critically important to software productivity. You would buy a development tool which enables you to write tons of code that enables you to plug these things together in such a way as to make it work. Now the engineering manager has the tangible hardware printed circuit board kind of philosophy, and he thinks the Tinker Toys approach is going on when it's really not. What's really happening is the software engineers writing code helter-skelter, however they can do it to make it work, and you end up with something that really looks like something like this as opposed to something like this. Okay, so then you can quickly lay the software onto the hardware platform and it's working. And the hardware engineer, the engineering manager, thinks that the hardware is tangible, so they can see this. They think that the software engineer has done this, but really they haven't. So when the changing network requirements, a new network interface chip, a new protocol stack happens, it's very difficult for them to be able to adjust. Typically they'll tell the engineering manager, well, I've got to rewrite a whole bunch of code. Practically every engineering manager has heard that and has dreaded it, because what it means is the software that's been written is thrown away, a new plug-in has been added, a new protocol stack or a new device driver, a new capability, and then the whole implementation phase happens over again for the software engineer. Now you can imagine once all this thing is done, what if this engineer left? Can you imagine trying to take this code and hiring somebody new to try to figure out what happens, or new people on the job or during the maintenance phase, it makes it very difficult. That's what's key to holding back the software department. What we have are Tinker Toys for the software industry. Not just OS-9 the kernel, but SoftStack's an integrated communications and control framework provides the form factor so that you can easily plug in any protocol stack available for OS-9. Legacy code can be created or ported into the environment in the same Tinker Toy form factor that makes it immediately interoperable with commercially available code. That is what the power of SoftStack brings to the software developers. It's important for you to be able to understand it, and that's why we're shipping you these Tinker Toys, is so you can quickly articulate what is going on, what SoftStack represents to the software industry to avoid this and be more productive and more profitable using something like this. Okay, we've gone through why Microware, from a problem statement, macrocosm problem statement, to why Microware from a project-oriented, project-focused approach. We've taken a look at software development from blocks of wood to the Tinker Toy approach and what SoftStack represents to the industry. Now it's time for the challenge. I challenge all of you the very next day after seeing this tape, find one company in your territory, in your area, on that 300 lead list that you got during sales training. Pick one of them out. Ask for the director of engineering, vice president of marketing, somebody like that. Get their name, get in contact with them, and tell them, take that leap of faith and say, why Microware? Articulate to them why Microware. And then we want on June 5th to discuss. I want to go around to every salesperson and discuss what happened on their initial prospecting call. So take that leap of faith. You have the opening lines now. You understand what it is about Microware that makes us a better solution for this customer. So I ask you to get a hold of that person, make an attempt, one focused attempt at starting and initiating and engaging with the customer. And with that, on June 5th, we will talk about it in our conference call. Also, feel free to give me a call and send me emails as you progress through this cycle.